Hello, guys, and welcome back to another Ambassadcast. Today, I have my fellow Biola friends, Nina and Eric. We're going to be talking about finding a church because in the in the La Mirada area, there are so many churches. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about our experience in finding a church and where we currently go. So do you guys want to start us off with where you guys go and a little bit about how you guys got to that church?
Yeah, I can start us off.
Perfect.
So I currently go to a church in the area called Southlands. I really loved it, and I found it because my friend actually knew someone that went there, and they were like, "Oh, you should come for a day on our youth group." And so it's kind of common, like when you get to Biola, that you'll find groups of friends that like to try out different churches together. And so I went with like that group of friends and ended up loving it. And so there were a couple of us that kind of decided that that would probably be what we wanted to make our home church. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I landed on. I definitely looked at a lot of different churches. There's so many different great ones in the area that just offer such like variety in worship styles and just experiences. And so, but I definitely love Southlands, and that's where I ended up. So.
I can go next.
Yeah.
So I currently go to Christ Chapel of Orange County, which is in the area of Lake Forest. So actually how I found that church was actually a long journey. So before COVID started, I was hopping church everywhere. I was going to New Song and St. Anna, going to a lot of Saddleback churches, campuses. And I was just trying to find to see if like I like the church or not, if they have a good community, if there's a place for me to serve in. And I finally found Christ Chapel of Orange County. Definitely, actually, funny thing how I found is actually through my old high school teacher. He recommended to me, and he's actually the pastor of the church. So I was like, okay,
That's so
cool.
cool.
Yeah, so I was like, I checked it out, and it was just super cool with super strong community of just SSA people and just a lot of support group for our community. It's just super cool to have that as a community, and I was able to bond with that. And then COVID hits and everything went online, so I just attended the live service, which just was very cool just to see like a lot of the comments still happening, a community still happening within the church, and God just been blessing the church, and it was super cool. And then we finally go back in person recently. And I was invited some of our Viola friends to go there, and it was just super welcoming time. But yeah, that's my journey, how I found my church.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. As you guys can tell, we're definitely all in an interesting position just because of COVID, because we started and we're church hopping, as a lot of Biola students call it, for that first few months. And then COVID hit. So now kind of are just getting back into the whole church experience in La Mirada again. So next we're going to go into a piece of advice that we have for our incoming students in finding a church. And I'll kind of touch on this first. Currently I'm going to Southlands, the same as Nina. But kind of as we've been talking about, just because there are so many churches around, it can be really difficult to find a church sometimes. And just a little piece of advice from me is to not get discouraged in that. Because we were kind of saying even before this, if you could probably go to a different church every single week for 4 years and still have new churches to go to in the area. And so just to kind of take a second of, you're gonna find a place, but to be okay in kind of the hopping around and the waiting, because ultimately, whether you end up finding a church your first week or you end up finding it a year into school, you're getting so much good experience in just being around other church communities and getting to witness how different people worship and how different people praise God. And so just taking a second to realize, like, yes, it maybe sucks in the moment that you kind of don't have that community instantly, but just giving yourself that time to build it and to cultivate it is a really good piece of advice that I got just throughout my first year, especially through COVID and all of that, because that added an extra level of stress just in like, where am I supposed to go, especially when I'm going back home for a year and then coming back after all of that. But what piece of advice would you guys give incoming students?
Yeah, I think my advice would just be to like have an open mind. I think this is huge, like coming in for a lot of you, like you may have had a home church that you've grown up in, or that you have at least gone for a long period of time. And so, like for me, I think that my faith grew so much by seeing just how other people worship and just different styles of services and things like that. And I think that it really just expanded how I see God and just like how I see my own faith. So I would just encourage like you as students to just have an open mind. So when you're going to a church, instead of trying to find one exactly like maybe the one you were used to, like being open to, if someone's like, oh, I'm going to this one, and you're like, this sounds like nothing I would like just go once. You never know. And like you could end up loving it and it is just exactly where you need to be. And if not, it's one step closer to finding what you do want. And so I think I would just say like have an open mind. God works everywhere, so like you will be where you need to be if you do. So yeah.
For my advice, definitely get involved with the church when you like find your church. A lot of time I guilty too. As a nursing major, I could find a lot of time I'm super busy with learning anatomy or chemistry, and then I find myself like, oh, I can't really get involved because I'm busy with school. But I recommend like take out of that time and serve in the church, and just even though it seems stressful in midterm weeks or like 2 weeks before that, like just serve in the church and just be faithful with God, and God will lead you to amazing places and meet amazing people, and also allow you to serve so much back to God, and it's so rewarding. So definitely highly recommend to serve a church and get involved in a church.
Yeah, going off of that a little bit, I think it's also really important and really cool to even get involved in meeting other people in our community, because on campus, we're really just surrounded by our professors, but then also people our age. And so I think it's really cool to get involved in those church communities, to then be surrounded by people that are way younger than us or way older than us, and to be able to serve God in those ways, I think is really cool, especially to just expand our community in our local area, and just to be able to go to a family's house. Like I had a friend last year that ended up getting super close with a family that she was serving with, and would go every week to their house for dinners, and got to know their kids really well. And it's just a really cool testament to like the friendships and the relationships that you can make while you're in school, just not always on Biola, but also everywhere else around campus. So thank you guys so much for coming today. This is a super short Ambassadcast, but we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of encouragement of going into your freshman year and what it can look like in finding a church. Again, don't get good. Oh my goodness, my words today. Don't get discouraged in all of that, because it does take time, because there are so many churches and so many different experiences. But just have fun with it and go with your friends and make it a fun Sunday experience. But yeah, we are so excited to have you guys. If you ever want to come to church with any of us, just reach out and we will bring you along with us. But again, we'll see you guys soon. Bye.